Hi everyone, it's Dr. Ramani. Welcome back to this YouTube channel where we talk about narcissism and antagonism and people and relationships, you name it. And today we're going to talk about you needing a plan B if you decide to stay in a narcissistic relationship, but it's not the way you think. So lots of people stay in narcissistic relationships, and I understand that, so that's why I try to teach around that. Now listen, we all know shady people who when they were dating, remember they kind of had that plan B set up. Someone they're sort of texting on the side, a plan B if they get bored with you when they're dating you, right? That's a ground game used by many a toxic person. That idea of a backup in that way of a person, that's not the kind of plan B I'm talking about today. When a person is in a narcissistic relationship, the trauma bonding, the good days varying with the bad ones, that creates confusion, right? On the good days, you believe, this is going to work. This is actually a good relationship. I misread the whole thing. You know the drill. Then the bad day happens, and they happen a lot, and then you're devastated again, and back and forth you go. Another pattern that people get into in narcissistic relationships is that they're always trying to figure out how to get their needs met. Remember that getting your needs met, even voicing your needs, is not possible in these relationships. Your needs are an affront, an insult, and an inconvenience in these relationships. But heaven help any of us who have trauma bonds. We don't want to hear that. So we try a million different ways to get our needs met by this person who will not meet them. We fluff, we text, we align our needs with theirs and hope to get the extras from their needs getting met. And for some people, they believe that maybe on regular days, their needs will not get met. But maybe one day, let's say you get sick, then of course the narcissistic person who's so worried that they may lose you, they will step up and take care of you and play the hero. Not so fast. Talked about this on this channel. Narcissistic folks do not like sick people. Now, they may make a big show of taking care of you when other people are around. For example, if you had visitors or you're in the hospital, they'll try to act like Florence Nightingale while people are looking. And in that moment, you might forget every bad thing that ever happened and assume that you will have some sort of love story during your convalescence. Honestly, heck, they may even get it right one of the days you're sick or whatever. And they might bring you home your favorite ice cream or text you and check in on you. And you'll say, oh, I was wrong. Of course they care about me. They remembered the ice cream. This is love. Maybe it is, until something else grabs their attention, and it will. Or there's no more validation that they're going to get for playing nurse to you. And then the ice cream, the texts, the chicken soup, and the solicitude stops. And even worse, you're still sick, and you haven't set yourself up with adequate help. This isn't just sickness. It can be taking care of kids, taking care of pets, taking care of other shared responsibilities that they likely think are beneath them and cannot be bothered with. So the plan B that people who decide to stay in narcissistic relationships need to learn, and lots of people do stay in these relationships, it's to not fall under the spell and the delusion that the narcissistic person is going to take care of you or take care of stuff. It's just not happening. They may for a day, for a few hours, but in the long term, no. So I tell many a survivor, you need a backup plan. What does that look like? Maybe it's nursing care or assistants that come into the home, a babysitter on speed dial that you pay extra for last-minute calls to action when the narcissist decides not to help you out. Could be a dog walker, could be a personal assistant, a helper, a friend who has your back. Whatever it may be, you need a backup plan. You need that proverbial plan B. In fact, I would argue that your plan B is your plan A. And if the narcissistic person gets into their head for a minute or for a day that they want to be your helper or pull some sort of communal narcissistic aren't I a great caregiver groove, then you may be able to not have to rely on these other paid folks for a minute, but don't let them go, because I promise you, you ultimately will. Because of the fantasy that the narcissistic person will finally step up and do what they are supposed to do. The hope that never dies in these relationships. Lots of people don't set up their plan B or even their plan A, as the case may be. They fall into the small child fantasy of course my parent is my hero, right? Of course my person is my hero. The problem is, if you don't get these backup plans set up ahead of time, for example, have the person be available, have someone else be available to care for you after a surgery. They can be really hard to mount up these plans at the last minute. Or you simply may not have the energy or strength when you're sick to get those plans set up. In addition, the grief, the idea that the narcissistic person had no interest in being there for you, despite you being in a relationship with them, can be quite devastating and also sap your spirit and make it harder to rally and find help. I tell anyone, if you're going to stay in the relationship, I totally get that. But you got to have that plan B set up, that backup plan. I hope, listen, for everyone, it's my hope and my prayer that the unicorn strikes and that the narcissistic person helps you with the kids for the whole school break or while you try to meet your work deadline, or that they bring you meals during your entire illness, or that they walk the dog every day that you're healing from your knee surgery. Then yay, and I'm so happy for you. But I'm not willing to take that bet. Having that plan B set up, while it may not protect you from the sadness and grief that comes from experiencing a person that you thought would care for you letting you down, it may protect you from the disasters that could ensue if you're not being cared for. Staying in a narcissistic relationship is a constant grappling with reality, unpleasant though it may be. But no matter what kind of relationship you're in, and it's a requirement in a narcissistic relationship, having a backup plan is simply a good strategy for life. Thanks again.